Thank you so much for watching our animated shorts. Please subscribe to support us. Once upon a time, deep in the heart of an ancient forest shrouded in perpetual mist, stood an enormous old house. It was a silent sentinel of a forgotten era, its roofline lost in the swirling fog, its silhouette a haunting presence against the gray backdrop. Time had been unkind to the mansion, leaving it weathered and worn, its windows like vacant eyes staring blankly into the ethereal haze. One day, a young family decided to make the house their home. They were city dwellers, a husband, a wife, and their 8-year-old son named Leo. For Leo, the house was a thrilling adventure. His room was at the top of the house, and its biggest feature was a gigantic window that looked out onto the misty woods. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the floor, Leo prepared for bed. The silence of the old house was profound, broken only by the distant moan of the wind through the trees. As he snuggled under his covers, trying to banish the day's adventures from his mind, he heard it, a faint whisper that seemed to slither through the cracks in the window pane. "Lao," it beckoned softly. "Come look out." Leo's eyes flew open. He strained to listen. Was it his imagination, or was someone out there in the fog speaking his name? He could have sworn the window was shut tight. Yet the whisper persisted, growing ever so slightly louder. "Leo, come look out!" Curiosity battled with fear in Leo's heart. He knew he should ignore it, that it was probably just the wind playing tricks on him. But the whisper held an inexplicable allure, a siren call that beckoned him to the window. With a deep breath, he threw back the curtains and peered out into the swirling mist. All he could see were the gnarled branches of the ancient trees, swaying eerily in the non-existent wind. Had he imagined the whole thing? He wondered, shaking his head, deciding it was just a figment of his overactive imagination. The next morning, Leo recounted his experience to his parents over breakfast, but they merely laughed it off. "The house is old, Leo," his dad said, chuckling. "Sometimes the windows make strange sounds. It's probably just the wind." His mom nodded in agreement. "Don't let your imagination run wild, dear. It was probably just a dream." But Leo knew what he had heard. He was sure of it. Yet no one believed him. And so he kept his nocturnal visitor a secret, hiding his fear behind a mask of bravado. That night, however, the whisper returned, more insistent than before. "Leo, we see you," it hissed. Startled, Leo rushed to the window and parted the curtains. What he saw made his blood run cold. In the swirling mist outside, two small glowing eyes seemed to peer back at him, cold and malevolent. They were like twin embers burning in the darkness, sending shivers down Leo's spine. In a panic, he slammed the curtains shut, his heart pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird. The whisper came again, slithering through the room like a venomous snake. "Don't hide, little one, we're already inside." Trembling with fear, Leo buried himself under his blankets, pulling his pillow over his head. He squeezed his eyes shut, trying to shut out the image of the glowing eyes and the ominous whisper. But the longer he stayed there, the more the fear began to consume him. The whisper had been right. It was already inside. With newfound determination, Leo clambered out of bed and stumbled to the window. The curtains were still drawn, but he didn't need them anymore. The eyes outside were burned into his retinas, seared into his memory. The whisper had spoken the truth. Whatever was out there was in the room with him now. Panic welled up inside him, threatening to drown him. The handprint was a sign that whatever lurked outside had already breached the barrier between their world and the foggy realm from which it had come. This was no longer a game. The line between reality and nightmare had blurred. Desperate for answers, Leo threw himself into uncovering the mystery of the house and the spectral entity that haunted him. He scoured through dusty old books, seeking lore about the forest and the house's history. He spoke to the town's elder, hoping to find some clue to the enigma that plagued him. But his efforts yielded no concrete answers, only deepening the enigma. The whisper continued, taunting him, growing bolder with each passing night. One particularly harrowing evening, as Leo cowered under his covers, the whisper took on a mocking tone. "Are you afraid, little one?" it sneered. "You should be. There is no escape." These words struck a chord of terror within him, amplifying his dread. Was he doomed to live in eternal fear? Would the whisper and the eyes forever haunt his existence? Trapped in the labyrinth of his own terror, Leo felt utterly helpless. Days turned into weeks, and Leo's ordeal showed no signs of abating. The whisper had become a constant tormentor, chipping away at his sanity. The mention of the window being a door had planted a seed of doubt in his mind. Could it be possible that the window was a portal to another realm, a gateway to the ethereal world from which the whisper and the eyes belonged? This unsettling thought echoed in his mind, refusing to be silenced. Determined to take control of his fate, Leo resolved to confront his fear. On that fateful night, as the whisper began its usual nightly taunt, Leo surprised himself by shouting, "I'm not afraid of you," his voice echoing through the silent room. Silence. The whisper had been cut short, taken aback by Leo's sudden outburst. It was as if the very essence of the fog had been silenced. For a moment, the only sound was the pounding of Leo's own heart. Then, as slowly as it had fallen silent, the whisper began again, its voice now a mere thread of its former volume. "You should be." The lights flickered overhead, plunging the room into momentary darkness. And when the lights returned, illuminating the room once more, the window was closed. The latch was shut, and the old wooden frame seemed to hold its breath. The handprint was gone, leaving behind no trace of its existence. Days turned into weeks, and the whisper ceased its nightly visits, leaving Leo in a fragile peace. The window remained sealed, holding its secrets close. Yet on foggy nights, when the mist hung heavy in the air, Leo would glance at the window, half expecting to see those eerie eyes peering back at him from the swirling haze. He never heard the whisper again, but its absence was a constant reminder of the darkness that lingered just beyond his perception. And so Leo grew up in that house, forever marked by his encounter with the whisper in the fog. The secret of the window remained, locked away in the annals of the old house, waiting perhaps for another curious soul to stumble upon it. The end.